Peace, whatever family, and we are back with an angel message of the day. So first and foremost, let's get into this prayer. Thank you, Most High God, for being with us, protecting us, watching over us, guiding us back into your love, your heart, your grace. Thank you for using me as a conduit of truth, clarity, and unconditional love for whoever that tunes into me today. And I pray that in this space, any evil, low vibrational energy attacks, plans, plots against me, or even watching me, return back to the sender. The sender is destroyed. So it is. Amen. So let's get into it. There's a lot going on. And if you listen to my last YouTube live, I was speaking about a choice needing to be made because there was some sort of deception going on. And at this time, or in your spiritual walk, um, doing what's right is more important than doing what others want you to do. Okay? And what I mean is, if you feel you are experiencing something that's out of alignment with what is good and true in your heart, then that means you have to have the willpower or strength to disconnect or detach yourself from something that is proving to you to be not of the Most High God, right? And living in righteousness is a lot harder than what, it's easier said than done. It's very hard, very difficult because sometimes for some of you that may mean walking away from a relationship, family, a job, or something that you feel like gives you a sense of security when God is asking you to put your faith into Him so that He can give you the security that you need and provide for you what you need and align your life with what you're meant to have and what you're meant to do. Okay? So for most of us, everyone is included in this, having to embrace some sort of redirection or becoming more defined in our walk with God. Because if we are not really practicing what we preach, or we're not making the choice to surrender to what He is showing and telling us about situations around us, and we are allowing ourselves to be deceived, we're allowing ourselves to be tricked, we're allowing ourselves to be manipulated, we're allowing ourselves to continue feeding the agenda of the side that's working against us, then God cannot protect us. God cannot keep us away from whatever those people's plans are. The only way God can keep us away from people's evil agendas is if we listen to our intuition, if we listen to Him and be obedient, despite what upset it may cause or discomfort it may cause, right? So it really takes you to be strong, to go into that type of unknown, not knowing what's on this other side, not knowing what's going to happen. You have to have an unwavering faith. And that is, at this time, being really tested in most people. I can use myself. I had a point in my journey where, I came into this point over and over again where something I was doing, who I was, working for, was not in alignment with God's plans for me. And although it seemed good, um, I had to say no. I had to turn it down. I had to walk away. I had to disconnect and be obedient. Otherwise, whatever those people's plans were would have prevailed, and I would have dealt with a much messier situation than I did by walking away. And walking away is never easy because people who have agendas, people who are using you, definitely get angry, definitely give you some type of battle, but you don't have to worry about being battled if you know you're choosing to walk with God, because then God is going to battle for you. And God is also going to restore balance in your life wherever you feel like you're losing it or have lost it. So it's, believing in God requires a lot of trust, especially when you cannot predict or expect what is coming next, right? So this is what I spoke about in my last video where I was like, first intuitive reading of the year. That is a very powerful message for most people and where they're at in not only their physical journeys, but their spiritual journeys. Because as within, so without, you will experience an external um, choice that reflects the spiritual inner choice that is really about you choosing the path of righteousness or choosing the path of darkness. This looks like in the form of being in between two situations, one that's serving the God, one that's not serving God, one that's deceiving you, one that's telling you the truth. So that inner conflict, if this is something you're experiencing within, this is what will be reflected without, right? But it's all showing you the spiritual journey that you're on. To the eyes, it looks like, oh, I'm just going through a breakup. I'm just going through a hard time at work. I'm just going through something mundane, but it's not mundane. There's a reason for it, because your spirit is in warfare. Is it going to surrender to the highest good, or if it's going to surrender to a lower vibration? So I pray that people who are in this space, it is vulnerable, come into connecting with God, praying, meditating, and reconnecting with their own personal power and strength. I'm sorry. I just had to. Popcorn is so good. Okay. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay. Yeah, you have to empower yourself. And one thing that is on my heart right now before I begin is to call your power back from all places, times, dimensions. Okay, this is how I say it, because I call my power back from all people, places, things, timelines, dimensions. Okay, this is what you need to say when calling your power back to you. You want your power back from everything, from everywhere, so that you can regain your strength, regain your personal power. That way, there's no question about what side you stand on. Okay, because as we see, judgment's here, judgment's happening. There's a lot happening. And let's get into it. Angel message of the day. Okay, we have discipline. An unruly dog is a hazard to itself and others. The animal which has learned discipline and obedience can be trusted and will loyally and lovingly serve its master. It is then allowed off its lead. Okay, so I was just saying, when you're on the path of righteousness, you have to listen and be obedient despite how it may disrupt other people's agendas. Okay, and we all have an animalistic nature. Therefore, God knows we will sometimes give in. I'm busy. Knows that God, man, this is why I don't like being disrupted. We all have an animalistic nature. So God already knows we're going to struggle with duality, with serving dark versus serving light. Like, we're going to have these temptations. We're going to have things that make us, be torn between. But this is where discipline is to help us strengthen our will to serve God, our master. That should be the only master you have, the Most High God, that is. Or you're serving another master if you're listening to that. So it's like, this is how serious these choices are, and where you are giving your energy to, what you are serving, whose plan you're serving, their plan or God's plan. You can't do both. It said it is then allowed off its lead. So God will be able to trust you when you show that you're obedient for his plan, not the enemy's plan. If you're on some type of, leash, so to speak, then it's because God knows you are still going into, like, if you're spiritually or physically feeling tied up or restricted or limited from what it is you desire, that's because God knows you have not cultivated the discipline to walk a righteous path without some type of,
I'm giving the image of like when people are on probation and they have to wear ankle bracelet. Like, I know your ass is going to try to go and play in the dark when I already told you not to play in the dark because you don't have discipline and you're over here still wrestling with this dark side, this dark energy. And I'll let you, but I'm going to warn you through this ankle bracelet that you need to get your ass back in the line, back in alignment, back to where I told you to be, told you to do. So that's the imagery that I'm getting. And it proceeds to say, through discipline comes freedom. So some of you who are desiring freedom have to understand boundaries, and discipline is what creates freedom. Knowing that you can be free in your state of consciousness that serves the Most High God, and that you will be safe to be free in that way, because you are, fully on one side. You're fully on choosing the path and direction you want to be true to. You're being true to yourself. Therefore, when you're true to yourself, you're true to God, and you have boundaries and you have discipline and you have things that do not allow you to be compromised, right? The master you are called on to obey is your higher self, which is connected to the Most High God. You came to earth on a mission, and only self-discipline will enable you to fulfill it. Tune in and ask your angels for their help and support that so that your life becomes happy and rewarding and divinely directed. Discipline is a key to fulfilling your destiny. Affirmation: self-discipline brings me freedom. So some of you are needing to be set free from particular places, mindsets, agendas that are not rooted that is not rooted in righteousness, and that is not in alignment with your higher self, which means your higher purpose. Because we all have a higher and lower self. So this is the duality I was speaking of, that we can descend and serve the lower self, or we can serve the higher self. So how do you know if you're in your lower self? Well, your lower self will be low self-esteem, low confidence, low willpower, low discernment, low everything, low energy, low, being taken advantage of, being deceived, being manipulated, low, just everything, low everything, right? Your higher self is the image that God created you in that reflects Him. Confidence, secure in oneself, knows what you stand for and believe in, has power, discipline, boundaries, and discernment, and knows the truth and puts self first, aka God first, the Most High God I'm speaking of. So that's the difference. What side are you serving? The lower half of yourself, because we have the heart, which is the bridge, right? But then the lower half is our greed, materialism, sex, drugs, alcohol, serving the lower chakras, right? Or the higher self is connected to consciousness, our heart, speaking our truth, being given visions, seeing things for what they are, having a sense of direction, about what our mission on this earth is, to serve the Most High God. We have to be in our higher self to accomplish that. Otherwise, we are working against ourselves when we descend into that lower nature of ourselves. And so God knows we're going to have this battle within before it even begins to manifest outwardly. But the angel message is telling you, like, if you know what side you want to be on, it's time to create a form of discipline where no matter who you disrupt, who you piss off, who you upset, don't be more considerate of them than you are your higher self and your relationship to God, because that will only lead you astray, to be more sensitive to them than you are how God views you, and if you're actually living in accordance with His plan and His purpose for your life. You feel me? That's where it's like, I know my fact. I know I've told people, look, if I have to choose myself, my purpose, God, everything over before you, I will. Because as much as I love you, as much as I love, you know, to bond with certain individuals, if you ever compromise my walk, my path, I got to give you up because I'm not sacrificing myself. Because that's ultimately what the enemy wants you to do, wants you to sacrifice yourself for other people so that you become low self-esteem, low confidence, low power, low, and just keep getting lower and lower until now you're invaded by darkness and now you're just stuck in depression and deception and all the things that reflect hell on earth, right? Acceptance. This goes hand in hand with freedom. Some of you need to be freed from your lower self or the things that you're battling with lower people in general. And to accept, to free yourself, you have to accept the truth, right? The truth that this is not in alignment with my higher self. This is not somebody who's vibrating on a high frequency. This place, this thing, this job, whatever it is not in God's image. You know, it's not in God's purpose for my higher self. Therefore, I'm being shown different signs, different experiences, different things nudging at my intuition about, you know, what the true nature of this situation is. So how do we free ourselves from it? We have to accept. So it says acceptance means unconditional love. The angel reminds you to accept everyone exactly as they are, without judging, blaming, or wanting to change them. Heavy on not wanting to change them, because God said, you do not sacrifice yourself for people, period. That is not a sacrifice that's honorable to God. It's honorable to Satan if you sacrifice your own soul for somebody else, because now you've been converted and now you're serving him, right? God does not want us sacrificing ourselves for people. So by trying to save them, change them, or giving them the benefit of doubt, or even condemning them, judging them, and blaming them, like that is not the solution. It means accept them as they are, but just have the discernment that that is not for you. That is not in alignment with you. That is not reflective of the direction and journey that you intend to be on. Therefore, choosing yourself first is what matters more. When you are totally accepting, you bear no malice or enmity towards anyone or anything. Harmlessness through acceptance is a high state of being. And this is a difficult quality for humans to embrace, for it is a divine quality. Nevertheless, the angels are drawing it to your attention now. You are also asked to accept yourself. When you truly do so, you feel centered and confident, and your divine self is revealed. Affirmation: I accept myself and others. I don't change them. I'm not trying to change for them. I'm not, blaming them, judging them, anything. I'm just understanding like this is where they're at in their journey. This is where I am. I'm going this way. They may be going that way. And all that matters is that I stay on the trajectory that God intends for me to be on, as long as I'm being disciplined and obedient to what I'm being shown. Accepting the truth for what it is and accepting your own heart. What are you about? Like what makes, ooh, don't call me. you know, Whatever I was saying, cannot stand disruptions. Gratitude. This is my favorite energy. Your guidance is to count your blessings. When you say thank you to the universe for its gifts, it responds generously to you. Angel wisdom reminds you to say thank you for all that you have, the intangible as well as the tangible. Whenever you say thank you from your heart, more is bestowed on you. For gratitude is a key to opening the door to universal abundance. Cultivate an attitude of gratitude and open yourself to receive love and plenty into your life. Your angels will smile on you. Affirmation: I'm grateful for everything in my life. So even when we deal with these situations that test our relationship with ourself or God, we have to be grateful because, you know, ultimately Everything does lead us, when you have a heart open to Christ, when you have a heart that's open to your higher self, experiences will only show you what you're not, more than what you think it's telling you that you are, right? So what do I mean by that? Because I'm like, that did not come out right. Like, if you're dealing in a situation where you see that they're okay with greed, lying, manipulating, deceiving, being fake, whatever, but like from your own internal experience of yourself that that's not who you are, that's not what you believe, that's not what you agree with, then you learned from them what you are not to see more of who you really are. So it's like, accept that you are different, accept that you have the heart and soul that is a light, that wants to be in the light, that wants to serve the light. You're not like them, right? But how would you know without these experiences that were a contrast to you to show you more about who you are? So God is saying, be grateful for the lessons and experiences you've been encountering, because ultimately they showed you what you are not, or what life could look like if you did choose to be like them, because we do have a choice. And if you learned a lesson and you made a choice on who you want to be and become, then be grateful, because ultimately that situation helped you do that. And then we can let go, because everything is here to serve us, it's here to happen for us, right? And also teach us how we can help others as well who are faced with the same battles. And then it's like you'll see that God has given you mercy throughout so many errors. So then it's like you want to give gratitude to the Most High God for not allowing darkness to completely take over your will and destroy you, or make you die in some cases, or whatever these people's agendas were, to leave you homeless, to leave you broke, to leave you sick, to leave you suffering in any kind of form. Like, we can then be grateful that God, through our ignorance, through our learning, through our experience of trials and tribulations, that God did not forsake us, God did not abandon us, God did not give up on us, and that reflected through you not giving up on yourself, by you staying committed to what you know is good and true. And then the next card is mercy. To develop the quality of mercy, forgive yourself and everyone around you. Be magnanimous. See the good in others and give them the benefit of the doubt. Open up to compassion, but most of all, access the wisdom within that recognizes the divine in every creature. When you temper your attitude to others with mercy, you offer them grace. You spread much light, joy, and freedom. Freedom is a repetitive message here, freedom, and empower others to find the good in themselves. Choosing this card may mean that the angel of mercy are offering you release from your pain or difficulties. Accept it graciously. Affirmation: I am merciful. So forgive yourself and others. Doesn't mean what they're doing is right, but just to free yourself from what you've endured, experienced. That is just a key element. Forgiveness. This person, if they knew better, they would do better. That's how I see giving people a benefit of the doubt. If they actually understood the consequences of their actions, or what it's really bringing upon them, what they're, you know, like whatever battle they're in with God, because it's all personal. It's not for us to take personal. That's their own walk. That's their own journey, whether or not they'll come into faithfully devoting themselves to the Most High God, or if they will stay in a low vibration. Only God can work that out. We can't take it personal. We can't internalize anything that somebody else is going through in their own journey, when our focus is meant to be on our own. And to focus on our own, forgiveness is key. And we let God work on the people around us that God's showing us to separate ourselves from, because that's not our battle. that's a battle for God and them to take over and decide where they're going to be, you know, serving the light or serving the dark. Okay, so I think that's enough of the angel messages. I'm going to get into this empath oracle just to pull one or two, however many. See what do they need to hear. Empaths. Transforming empathic absorptions. So I mentioned the other day in my first reading of the year that a lot of empaths are drawn to narcissists. And this is a dark entity that most of us deal with at some point in our journey, multiple times in our journey. And they try to manipulate us and distort our own inner wisdom, our insight, by gaslighting us, by confusing us, reverse psychology, all these things. And at this present time, it's being shown to me that you're going through a cleansing, a renewal. I'm seeing chains being broken. I'm seeing being untied. I'm seeing blind spots being cleared. I'm just seeing a lot that is, coming out of your energy so you can have clarity if you've been needing clarity. Because what we don't understand sometimes is when we're surrounding ourselves with low vibrational people or energies, they are purposely, thank you, distorting our inner perception, our inner sight, so that we can't see things for what they are. And they're like overwhelming our minds purposefully so that we're confused. So at this present time, if you have separated yourself and removed contact, removed whatever connection you have to people being able to send you energy that is there to purposely distort your inner vision that God is giving you to see the truth, then you are now experiencing a transformation where the truth is clarifying and the smoke and mirrors is moving out the way. Okay, because a lot of people, I feel, from this energy have been under some form of manipulation, witchcraft. You've been absorbing all kinds of negative energy, negative agendas, negative voices, negative, all wrong, all rooted in wicked, I'm hearing. So this is being transformed, opening up, seeing the truth, accepting things for what they are, getting clarity. You're being guided to love yourself on all levels, trusting in destiny. And then didn't it say in one of these angel messages that discipline is a key to fulfilling your destiny? So it's like if we are made by God, God gave us a destiny to fulfill, but in order to do that, we have to be committed to our higher self, which means we have to transform these lower vibrational entities that have attached themselves onto us, that have put other agendas into our minds, into our spirit, that's not in alignment with what God's told us to do. So this is what God is cleansing and purging and purifying you at this time. So if you're separating yourself, stay separated, because God is warning you that, like God is not warning you, but is showing you when you're around influences, you begin to absorb energy that then begins to distort and confuse and put you on a path that is against your destiny. But when you separate yourself and now your space is clean and clear and away from those influences, you're now able to connect deeper, or God's able to come into your presence, right? God cannot come into your presence if you're bonding with the enemy. That's why discipline is so key, because I don't give a fuck how good they look, how well they're talking, how much they're promising. If God says no, then no means no, right? And that's what God needs a lot of people to understand, that people are going to deceive you, okay? And appeal to your lower nature of yourself, the part of you that is more susceptible to these attacks and these agendas. But if you come into your higher self, it don't work. I will sit and be, you know, in an uncomfortable position before I give my life and energy over to any agenda that I know is not my destiny, is not what God intends me to do. So that's why God's like, I'm separating you from people, places, things, a lot, so that I can come into your presence and I can show you the truth. I can give you the truth. But as long as you are going back to that influence, as long as you keep teeter tottering, you're going to feed you're going to make yourself susceptible to being manipulated, period. And it's your choice. So God can't control your choice, right? Only you can control your choice. Okay. So yeah, embrace solitude. Embrace being out of the energy of the wrong company. Like, please, the wrong company is too high of a price. I promise you, it's too high of a price. You do not, because that God don't want you sacrificing yourself for anybody, and that's what these people and agendas want you to do. They want you to sacrifice your higher self, your connection to God, in order to go numb, go dark, go blind, go ignorant, so that the enemy can use you instead. Okay? So if you're being separated, if you're being feeling like you need to separate, if God's telling you move, get away, stop, no, listen. I'm tired of people not listening. It's very critical, because it's like you can't play both sides. You just can't. You're playing God. But when you start going through hell, guess who you're going to be calling on? God. And God's like, but I gave you the intuition. I gave you the warnings. I gave you the insight. I gave you the dreams. I gave you the visions. I gave you the signs. I gave you everything to make the right choice. And you still made the wrong choice. So at that point, whatever happens to you happens. You get it? Please. Manifest your future. Okay? That's what you're doing when you come out of these other people's agendas, right? Now you're able to come into a space of solitude. This is where I love to be. I get to create my whole world in here. I'd be like, hey, what am I going to create today? I don't have nobody influencing me today. I get to just, God tells me to get up and get on YouTube. Okay, I'll do that. That's cool. I may not be getting paid for it, but, this is my purpose. This is what God intends me to do with my life, right? And a lot of you guys need to accept the past. So the past is heavy here with acceptance, accepting things for what they are, accepting the truth, accepting, and taking accountability, right? For your choices. That's the Angel message for today. And thank you for tuning in. Please share. Remember, there's enough water for everybody. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And go share with a friend, hater, or family member, somebody, anybody. Water her. Mwah. Love you guys.